Hello and good evening. Well, in the fight against COVID-19, India has crossed a major milestone today. For the first time ever since the pandemic broke out, the number of discharged COVID patients has overtaken the number of actively infected persons. We'll get you all the latest on India as well as the world's battle against the killer virus. I'm Gautam Roy. And we'll also be talking about the major general level talks that have taken place between Indian and Chinese armies today, where there are indications of further progress being made in resolving the standoff in eastern Ladakh region at multiple locations. But first, as always, our headlines. Major general level talks on Indian side to take matters forward on resolving border situation between India and China in eastern Ladakh. Withdrawal of both sides in the area raises hopes of further progress. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad attacks Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for attempting to politicize the situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal to discuss the situation in the wake of the Bagjan fire tragedy. Assures all possible support from the centre. The situation is being monitored closely and people have been evacuated to safer places. Prime Minister Modi reviews Kedarnath reconstruction project via video link. Urges state governments to design in a sustainable and eco-friendly manner. Further directs development of stretch from Ramban to Kedarnath. The BJP continues virtual Jan Samvad rallies to mark the completion of the first year of the second term of the Modi government. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari addresses rally for Madhya Pradesh while Smriti Irani addresses the one for Uttarakhand. Ravi Shankar Prasad blasts Rahul Gandhi for questioning the centre's lockdown strategy to control the COVID pandemic. Security forces continue to thwart Pakistan's nefarious terror plans in Jammu and Kashmir. 5 terrorists gunned down in an encounter in Shopian district after terrorists fired upon a search party. In the Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi case, Enforcement Directorate brings back 108 consignments worth 1,350 crore rupees. Diamonds, pearls, silver jewellery recovered from logistics company in Hong Kong. Number of recoveries surpass active COVID-19 cases in India for the first time. Over 1.35 lakh cured and discharged, while active cases stand at 1.33 lakh. More than 50 lakh samples tested so far. Central teams deployed in 6 cities to assist the states in COVID-19 management. Delhi LG issues orders to increase transparency and facilitate the people for COVID-19 treatment. All major hospitals to display details of availability and charges for rooms and beds, along with numbers of contact persons. Delhi CM urges all to wear masks, follow social distancing and to wash hands. And coronavirus cases across the world continue to spiral up with over 72.5 lakh confirmed cases worldwide. Over 33.8 lakh people have recovered worldwide, while 4.11 lakh people have succumbed to the virus. Well, India and China are making incremental progress as far as resolving the border situation in eastern Ladakh since the 6th of June meeting of high-level military officials is concerned. Today also saw major general level meeting take place to take the resolution process forward. Discussions have been fruitful according to sources. After the 6th of June meeting, it was said that both the Indian and Chinese soldiers had moved back from the advanced positions in certain areas. Here's more.
India and China have kept their engagement process on to peacefully resolve the situation on the line of actual control. Wednesday saw the two sides across the table once again at the level of major generals. Several issues were taken up on the occasion. Both the countries have continued to remain in touch over the last 5 weeks at both the military and diplomatic levels to resolve the situation in eastern Ladakh. Going by what the Ministry of External Affairs said on the resolution process, communications through established diplomatic and military channels are being maintained to address the situation. Meeting of Corps Commander based in Leh and Chinese Commander in Chushul Moldo region on 6th of June took place in a cordial and positive atmosphere. Both sides agreed to peacefully resolve the situation in the border areas in accordance with various bilateral agreements. Agreement between leaders that peace and tranquility in the India-China border region is essential for the overall development of bilateral relations to be kept in view. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Early resolution would contribute to the further development of the relationship. The two sides to continue military and diplomatic engagements to resolve the situation. Peace and tranquility in border areas to be ensured. The engagements are believed to have proved fruitful. According to sources, Indian and Chinese soldiers have retreated from their advanced positions in 3 different regions of eastern Ladakh. Sources say that the Chinese army has moved back by 2 to 2.5 kilometers in the Galwan Valley, patrolling point 15 and the hot springs area. Meanwhile, the BJP has hit hard at former Congress President Rahul Gandhi for his comment over the India-China border situation.
राहुल गांधी को इतनी तो समझदारी होनी चाहिए कि चीन के साथ सामरिक संबंधों पर ट्विटर से सवाल नहीं पूछा करते। कम से कम चुनौती भरे मामलों में विदेश नीति में क्या वो खुलकर इस तरह से सवाल पूछना उनका लाजिमी है क्या? हम देश हर के साथ सद्भाव और शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से रास्ता निकालते हैं और निकालेंगे। राहुल गांधी जी कृपया कर करके आप थोड़ा सा इन चीजों को सीखिए।
का शिकार राहुल गांधी जी न हो, गैरों पे करम अपने पे सितम, ऐ जाने वफा ऐसा जुल्म न कर। चाइना जो दुष्प्रचार कर रहा है, उस दुष्प्रचार का शिकार न राहुल गांधी जी को होना चाहिए, न उनको दूसरे को इसके दुष्प्रचार का शिकार बनाना चाहिए।
The government has also said that the situation is different this time around and the centre has a strong dispensation in place in the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
और हम चाहते हैं कि शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से विवादों का निष्पादन होना चाहिए। लेकिन एक बात बहुत विनम्रता से हम कहेंगे कि आज का भारत 2020 का भारत है, 1962 का भारत नहीं है। आज का भारत नरेंद्र मोदी जी ऐसे साहसिक नेता का भारत है, कांग्रेस के नेताओं का भारत नहीं है।
Politics aside, India remains engaged with China and recent developments indicate that progress is being made towards a peaceful solution to the border situation. With Sudhir Kumar, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And that brings up our In Focus tonight, which is simply put India-China border situation talks. And to talk about it, we have former DG Infantry Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni retired with us. Also, Major General Dhruv Singh Katoch retired with us. He's Director, India Foundation at present. Good evening to you both. General Kulkarni, first to you. What do you make of how these talks have moved on? Initially, there was little movement and then there was the Lieutenant General level meeting and things started to move on, and now we're hopeful of further progress as well. In certain areas, I believe that the situation is now much improved, but there is room for further improvement.
Gautam, thank you. Firstly, let me tell you, the situation on ground is not at all serious as, most people seem to feel that there's too much of tension on ground. No, the talks have made an impact. There is no denying the fact. There is no eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation anywhere. So that is a big relief. And the most important thing is we must first understand that the Chinese are big followers of Sun Tzu. And the following of Sun Tzu is very clear. They, it's imbibed in them that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without a fight. Now, therefore, you find that there is kind of a political statement which China intends giving it to India because it's on the back foot as of now. You see, internationally, the Chinese have been maligned for reasons of the Wuhan virus.
Correct.
The Chinese are feeling under pressure because of the trade sanctions. the Chinese are under pressure because they seem to feel that even in India, for investments which they could earlier otherwise do it, now have to be monitored and have to be declared. The Chinese are under the impression that in the South China Sea, which they completely consider as their own backyard, is being also threatened and is being questioned by even the countries around there. They find that the navigation, and can you imagine, Gautam, that there are about a lakh of ships that cross through Malacca Strait. And how many minutes do we have in a year? 5,25,600 minutes. And that means every 5.5 minutes, one ship passes through Malacca Strait. And that carries, it's one of the busiest straits and carries 50% of the world trade, which is twice the size of the India's GDP. And that is the trade which China is totally dependent on. And therefore, it always feels threatened that should something do, it is going to affect Chinese economy. Besides all this, the President Xi is on the back foot in China itself. You see what's going on in Hong Kong. Internally also, Chinese are not doing as well as they thought they would because of the Wuhan virus. Now they feel that in WHO also, that Indians have got such a great initiative and that the world opinion is so much against China, so that there's a little bit of pressure being put on India that if not, the word is not please, but the word is to put a political pressure that please do not malign China. As it is, we've had enough, and the growth rate is terribly down. So Chinese, what they were expecting that by 2020, the per capita income would double, the reunification of China would take place. All that seems to have gone in thin air. And
what you're suggesting, General Katoch, is that for various non-military reasons, the Chinese have made a military move which has led to a lot of concern worldwide, and of course in India as well. The Indian government has been moving on it to ensure that status quo is restored. Now, General Kulkarni, what do you make of this sort of a move by China? What does it hope to achieve here? Because as General Katoch suggested, that its motives could well be something else entirely from just grabbing territory.
See, the Chinese are trying to convey it's a political statement. Now, when it sees the world over, Indians are seen as someone a rising power. India is the only country which China feels can stand up to in Asia. The desire of China is to keep India boxed into South Asia. Forget about Asia. They said, let's box into South Asia. What does it do? It is trying to, negotiate with all of India's neighbors. China has resolved its boundary dispute out of the 14 countries that it has border with. Out of them, 12. Only 2 countries it hasn't resolved with. Which are these 2 countries? India and Bhutan. So you see so you find that China in and around, whether it is Gwadar, whether it is Hambantota, whether it is Djibouti, or whether it's with Myanmar, or whether it is in Bangladesh, now with Nepal, you find that the Chinese are looking at it that they can move around India and be able to pressurize India. At the same time, they're also conveying it to people in Hong Kong. They're conveying it to United States that look, China has arrived. Now you find Global Times in a psychological warfare trying to show all kinds of exercises, special forces, paratroopers, aircrafts, tanks, mechanized forces, movements, artillery guns, to show that even at heights as high as 14,000 to 16,000 feet, they have arrived. And
yes, it's doing some sort of a power projection. But General Katoch, this is not the first time that such transgressions have been made on behalf of Chinese forces. As far as standoffs go, we've always talked about Doklam, which was not too much in the past, and it lasted for a fairly long time, 73 days, I believe. So it's not that, incrementally things cannot be resolved. But why leave room for such situations to occur again and again? Why does it happen again and again? It's the border issue, unresolved border issue, where the problem really originates, doesn't it? And that needs to be addressed now.
Gautam, you're very right. But let us understand, while India wants to address the border issue, China has got no such interest at all. In fact, it suits China that the border, the line of actual control, remains in a state of flux, so they can keep playing it up as and when they want to. I think we have to understand little bit of the Chinese psychology. They still consider themselves the Middle Kingdom. And in their perception, there are only their dealing with other countries is contingent on two factors. Either that country is subordinate to them, and if it is not subordinate to them, they will treat it as hostile. So you will find, once you look into this particular paradigm, you will find that because Pakistan plays second fiddle to China, because North Korea plays second fiddle to China, they are subordinate countries, and China has excellent relations with them. You can never have good relations. It is not possible for China and India to have good relations, specifically because this is the Chinese bent of mind. This is one. Number two, what General Kulkarni said, I'll just take it one step forward. You see, as per their operating philosophy, they've got a political philosophy, which is called the three warfares. Now, this was a part of the Political Works Department in 2003, which again came up in 2010. And here they talk about the three warfares: psychological warfare, public opinion warfare, and legal warfare. And they try to apply those principles to pressurize other countries. Now, this is exactly what they tried on the Dolan Plateau. And because India held firm, they had to go back. Now, I think this is the key. I think it is very important to be firm, to say we will maintain our stand. And if required, to maintain our stand, we are even prepared to go to war. Because unless you're prepared to go to war, I'm afraid you're not going to get peace. Now, this is something which is part of the Chinese psychology. Number two, there is no action taken by the Chinese military which does not have the concurrence of the political department. So every action which you have seen, which has taken place now, which China has done, is in conformity with the larger Chinese design. And once we understand that design, we will know that, at the moment we are speculating what the design can be. But I'm absolutely certain there is a design. It could be related to their own concerns with the whole world ganging against them, and they don't want India to join that bandwagon. It could be their concerns in the Indo-Pacific, which are very, very serious concerns for them. And the third is it could be their own concerns, their internal problems which they are facing. Though, in my own opinion, as of now, I think Xi Jinping is in control, and I don't think he really has a serious challenger as of now.
Okay. General Kulkarni, at the same time, since India, as General Karosh was mentioning, needs to hold firm, and even if it wouldn't want a situation to come to that, be prepared and be ready to at least convey that if it comes to full-on confrontation, conflict, and the big small word war, we will not really flinch. But is anyone really prepared at this stage, either the Indian side or the Chinese side, for war when the world is warring already with the virus?
Gautam, General Katoch was my GOC in Tawang, and I used to hold border personnel meeting on his behalf at Bumla. So, I hold him in great respect. And there is no denying the fact of what he's trying to tell all of us. But let me tell you, China knows that India is not 1962. China knows India is not a pushover army. China knows that it cannot mess over. And Chinese also, like you rightly said, has a certain philosophy with which they behave. And they're a firm believer, as I said, of the followers of the Sun Tzu art. Now, what does the Chinese would say? The Chinese would make a political statement without any territorial gains. The Chinese can give you a political solution without a military confrontation. The Chinese would want to defeat and go in for a permanent political solution. But China will never ever go for any kind of a political solution with India. It'll keep dragging because it suits China. It may not suit us, but it suits China to do. Now look at the perception. What is the Chinese perception? Finger 4 is there. What is our perception? Finger 8 is ours. Galwan, the perceptions of where that is petrol point 14, 16, 17, 17 alpha, all of it. Everything is known. There are proper protocols being followed. There's a 1993 Peace and Tranquility Agreement, and subsequently thereafter, we've been following the banner drill. Chinese on ground are sometimes very, very nice, and sometimes they can be just erratic in their behavior. And rightly pointed out, this erratic behavior comes right from the top, as to be able to convey something to the Indians that again, this is a perception that India seems to be swinging west. India seems to be having a little domination in the Indian Ocean. India seems to be feeling threatening the world. This kind of a feeling that is is all perception. The Chinese perception is very difficult to read. Sometimes they can go berserk, and therefore, but having said all this, Chinese are a whole civilization like us. On the table when we talk, when we do border person meeting, they are very nice. And once now, as you rightly said, now you find that at Pengang Lake, their going back has started. At
Right.
Galwan, there is no eyeball to
Right, so
eyeball
this
confrontation.
blow hot, blow cold attitude of the Chinese side perhaps needs to be addressed. And let me bring in senior journalist Sanjay Kumar Singh on that now. Sanjay Kumar Singh, not that there's any effort lacking. We've had the special representatives arrangement for years now. 22 rounds of talks have taken place to resolve the border issue, but it's not happened. Although there is clear political direction, both when there was the Wuhan spirit and then the Chennai Connect. But why are things not moving over there? Just because the Chinese are not interested, and if they're not, how can we change that attitude? What can be done so that China seriously gets down on the negotiation table to work out the border issue?
Gautam, the current situation and the way Chinese think of it, has been beautifully explained by two generals. And how India has reacted and the way India of 2020 likes to react has also been explained. The fact remains that China, this is a pressure tactic from China. Unfortunately, some people, some political parties in India want to make a capital out of it, a political capital out of it. And broadly, if you look at it, these are same people, same set of people, also same set of publications and same set of leaders, particularly notably Rahul Gandhi. And they would question Modi government as on all other policies, particularly on China. Because with China, people have kind of great deal of curiosity, also great deal of emotional feeling in terms of both acceptance of China and retaliation of it. Currently, with rise of nationalistic sentiment in the country, coronavirus emanating from Wuhan has added to kind of anti-China feeling in the country. Then you have a lot of other situations emerging. Chinese economic interest penetrating into our country. We are trying to repulse that. And people at large are also standing up. Indian Army is one of the most professional armies in the world. No doubt they'll deal with the situation the way they should deal with the situation. They dealt in Doklam, they'll deal it here. I also know that at leadership structure in the ruling establishment, they are not kind of in any kind of anxiety situation. They know as to what they are doing, and they'll do as per whatever is required to deal with the situation. On the ground, among popular level, yes, there is kind of people are very passionate about as to what is happening.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, a section of people, a section of political leaders, and a section of publications are trying to kind of foment fire where the kind of fire, at least, the kind of fire which does not exist on the ground.
Yes, certainly, and politics does crop up in such situations as well, and the government has responded to it and responded very affirmatively because the situation is being handled on the ground. General Katoch, again, is there a situation that can be sort of created for China to become interested in resolving the border issue, because that would then take this thorn that keeps on pinching us in our side time and time again permanently?
No, very frankly, I don't think that we are in a position, China is actually going to even attempt to resolve this border. It suits them. But what we can do to ensure that these problems are minimized is actually we've got to be strong enough. Now, I've always maintained that it is your ability to go to war and to convey that impression to the Chinese that we will go to war, we will fight for an interest, and you will pay a heavy price. Now, if that intent is there, I can guarantee you there will be no war. You see, the point is very simple. The Chinese have a different philosophy. In my own interaction in China with some of their people who are from the Politburo, it came out that they said we were speaking about Taiwan, and the statement which they made was, if we are strong enough, we will take it. It is a very simple, straightforward fact. If we are strong enough, we'll take it. Now, this is the Chinese philosophy. If they are strong enough, they will do what they want. Now, we have to prevent them from doing that. And for
Right.
that, I believe you've got to have the appropriate strength on the ground. You've got to have an air force which is capable of defeating any of their intents over the Tibetan plateau. That means all the way from Lhasa down there. Once you have got those structures in place, I do not think the Chinese are going to interfere to that extent, though they will still keep needling the way they're needling now. And I personally feel that in this particular time, when they came forward on these two axes in the Galwan and in the finger 4 to finger 8 area, they were actually surprised at the speed by which the Indian army responded.
Okay.
They didn't expect the response to be that swift. So that is why we have got into a stalemate.
But let's hope that things get worked out in such a manner that the fact that no shots have been fired for the last over 50 years, 5 decades, that situation at least persists because none of us really want war. It's about letting them know that we're ready for it, but at the same time to see to it that they blink first. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening, all three gentlemen. Now, moving on to in terms of what's being done in the country as far as the COVID-19 outbreak, the worldwide the pandemic really is concerned. Well, the Vande Bharat mission, one of the biggest evacuation drives in the world, continues to bring back Indians from all over the world. In this series, a special repatriation flight from Thiruvananthapuram took off from Bahrain on Wednesday with 177 passengers and 3 infants on board. Meanwhile, another repatriation flight, which was a special Air India flight to Kannur, took off from King Fahd International Airport in Dammam with 332 passengers, including 12 infants on board. The passengers expressed happiness at the evacuation and thanked the Indian government for the effort. Also, a repatriation Air India flight to Kozhikode took off from Riyadh on Wednesday with 160 passengers, including 13 infants on board. Passengers expressed happiness at the evacuation and thanked the Indian government for the move. In addition to that, a repatriation flight from Kozhikode also took off from Doha with 177 passengers, including 12 infants on board. This was the 22nd flight from Doha under Vande Bharat mission, bringing the total number of repatriated passengers to 3,683, which included 110 infants. And Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has said that 58 more flights have been added to evacuate stranded and distressed Indian citizens from the Gulf countries till the 30th of this month. In a tweet, the minister said that starting immediately, the number of flights from Gulf under phase 3 of Vande Bharat mission has now been increased from the originally planned 107 to 165. The Civil Aviation Minister also said that phase 3 of Vande Bharat mission will have 80 flights to Europe till the 30th of June. This includes 2 daily flights to London and 2 to other European destinations. He said that 10 more flights to US and Canada have been added in addition to 70 already announced. Now, the national capital is hunkering down, is going into hunkering down mode really to fight the growing threat of the coronavirus. Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal has directed the Chief Secretary of the city today to ensure installation of LED boards at all major health facilities to display bed availability, charges and details of persons to be contacted for admission. The last 24 hours have seen 1,501 cases cropping up in the city and 48 deaths. Here's more.
Delhi's Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal on Wednesday directed State Chief Secretary Vijay Dev to ensure installation of LED boards at all major Delhi hospitals to display bed availability, charges and details of persons to be contacted for admission. In his letter, the Lieutenant Governor said the Health Department should ensure data displayed on hospital LEDs is same as that on Delhi government's app. The move is aimed at increasing transparency in allocation of hospital beds.
This order violated the constitutional right to equality and right to life, which includes right to health. Earlier also a similar order of GNCTD was struck down by Honorable High Court of Delhi, double bench headed by the Chief Justice of Delhi, on the ground that no citizen of India can be discriminated on the basis of residence. When it comes to health care, access to universal health care is the responsibility of the state.
Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said his government will implement the centre's decision.
केंद्र सरकार ने निर्णय ले लिया, एलजी साहब ने आदेश पारित कर दिया। ये समय असहमतियों का समय नहीं है, ये समय एक दूसरे से डिफर करने का समय नहीं है। अब जो निर्णय हो गया केंद्र सरकार का, एलजी साहब ने जो आदेश दे दिया उसको लागू किया जाएगा।
The Delhi Chief Minister said Delhi will need 1.5 lakh beds in healthcare facilities by July 31st once people start coming to the city for treatment from other states. On Tuesday, the Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia had said the number of COVID-19 cases in Delhi will explode to 5.5 lakh by July end. The BJP meanwhile blamed the Delhi government for spike in cases in Delhi.
सरकार में रहते हुए आपका काम है उन सुविधाओं को मुहैया कराना जो परेशानियां आ रही हैं, चाहे वो बेड बढ़ाने की बात हो या ऑक्सीजनेटेड बेड बढ़ाने की बात हो या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बढ़ाने की बात हो या फिर प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में जिस तरह से मनमाने ढंग से लोगों के साथ एक्सटॉर्शन हो रहा है, पैसे वसूले जा रहे हैं, उसकी बात हो। आज 2 महीने 2.5 महीने के बाद दिल्ली सरकार ये प्लान कर रही है। मैं दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री साहब से ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि आप प्लान करोगे या एग्जीक्यूट भी करोगे।
So far, 31,000 coronavirus cases have been reported in Delhi. Of these, 18,000 are active. Around 15,000 COVID-19 patients are being treated in home isolation. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, the coronavirus pandemic situation in the country is at a critical juncture. The last 24 hours have seen nearly 10,000 fresh cases, taking the total beyond 2.75 lakh. But the silver lining is that for the first time, the number of COVID-19 cured patients has overtaken the number of active COVID-19 infected persons. Testing is also improving steadily. A total of 50 lakh tests have been carried out so far. The daily testing numbers are closing in on the 1.5 lakh mark.
India has been doing well in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, and the steps taken by centre have received worldwide appreciation. Though the number of cases are continuously rising, so is the number of patients recovering from the disease. According to the latest data, the total number of COVID-infected people in the country has gone up to 276,583. In the past 24 hours, 9,985 new cases have been identified and 279 patients have lost their battle with COVID-19. But for the first time, recoveries have surpassed active cases. There are 1,33,632 active cases and 1,35,205 recoveries. The current recovery rate stands at 48.88%. In addition to that, more and more people are being tested every day. According to the ICMR, 50,61,332 sample tests have been conducted so far. 1,45,216 samples were collected in the past 24 hours. 823 private and government labs are conducting tests across the country. The number of government labs has gone up to 590, while there are 233 private labs on the job. The centre is doing everything it can to extend assistance to the states. Centre will be sending teams to Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Kolkata and Delhi. These teams will review the public health measures and provide technical help to state health departments and municipal health officials. Meanwhile, Centre has issued a strong warning that stringent action will be taken against those COVID-19 or non-COVID-19 hospitals if they refuse to treat patients suffering from coronavirus or other diseases as per the central government health scheme norms. CGHS beneficiaries have complained about the challenges faced by them in availing treatment at the empaneled private hospitals and health centers under the scheme. The ministry has reviewed the complaints filed by the beneficiaries and has made it clear that hospitals empaneled for CGHS by state government should adhere to the standards and treatment rates, or serious action would be taken against them. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
The BJP has been holding a series of over 2,000 virtual rallies, conferences and other events to mark the occasion of the completion of the first year of the Modi 2.0 government. Union Ministers Ravi Shankar Prasad addressed a virtual rally across Himachal Pradesh, Nitin Gadkari in Madhya Pradesh and Smriti Irani in Uttarakhand. The national capital too saw the party kicking off its Jan Sampark Abhiyan.
Modi government 2.0 completed its first year in office, and the BJP is holding virtual rallies across the country to celebrate the occasion. Virtual events are being held across the nation at state and district levels. Several events were organized on Wednesday as well. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad addressed a Jan Samvad rally in Himachal Pradesh via video conferencing. Speaking of the COVID-19 pandemic, he said that no one imagined that the world would undergo such a drastic change in a matter of 2.5 months. He said that the nation is standing with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his decisions in this regard. He also expressed his gratitude towards the Prime Minister for his handling of the crisis, and at the same time lashed out at Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for questioning the decision to impose lockdown.
मैं राहुल गांधी से एक सवाल पूछता हूं, हमसे पूछने के पहले अपने मुख्यमंत्रियों से क्यों नहीं पूछते जो आपकी पार्टी के मुख्यमंत्री हैं? पंजाब के मुख्यमंत्री ने जो हिमाचल के पड़ोस में है, लॉकडाउन सबसे पहले किया, वहां तो उन्होंने कर्फ्यू भी लगा दिया, आज भी 30 जून तक लगाए हुए हैं, राजस्थान ने लगा रखा है, महाराष्ट्र में आपकी पार्टी सहयोगी है.
Lauding the achievements of centre as well as the Himachal Pradesh government, Ravi Shankar Prasad highlighted that both of them are working to ensure the welfare of the people. He stated that 11 lakh crore rupees were deposited into the accounts of around 37 crore people through Digital India. He said that the country is steadily moving forward and becoming self-reliant.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत का मतलब अलग थलग भारत नहीं है. आत्मनिर्भर भारत का मतलब है ऐसा भारत जो प्रतिभा संपन्न बने, ऐसा भारत जो ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन का पार्ट बने, ऐसा भारत जो अपने आर्थिक विकास से, अपने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के विकास से दुनिया की इकोनॉमी को और मजबूत करे, क्योंकि भारत दुनिया की एक बड़ी ताकत है.
Meanwhile, senior BJP leader Nitin Gadkari also addressed a Jan Samvad rally in Madhya Pradesh. He hailed the government for the steps taken to tackle the coronavirus pandemic. Another senior leader of the party, Smriti Irani, addressed a rally in Uttarakhand. She highlighted the steps taken by Modi government 2.0 to help the farmers and the downtrodden.
आज कोरोना के संकट से पूरा विश्व संकट में है. हम भी संकट का सामना कर रहे हैं, पर बहनों और भाइयों, इस संकट से निगेटिविटी, निराशा, फ्रस्ट्रेशन, फियर, इससे काम नहीं होगा. आत्मविश्वास के साथ, सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ, पॉजिटिविटी के साथ कोरोना के खिलाफ हमको लड़ाई जीतनी है.
कि मुश्किल से मुश्किल घड़ी में हमारा संगठन, हमारी सरकार कोरोना से इस जंग में जनता के साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर समाज में समाधान देती रही.
Adding to the series of events, the BJP also started a Jan Sampark Abhiyan in Delhi. Senior party leaders are addressing people at several places across the city. The leaders also distributed Prime Minister Modi's letter and highlighted the achievements of the central government. With Shailendra Mishra in New Delhi, Newsnight Desk, TD India.
Now, Prime Minister Modi reviewed the Kedarnath Dham development and reconstruction project today through a video link and the use of drones. He said such work should stand the test of time as well as be in harmony with nature, while asking those involved in the project to speed it up.
It was in 2013 that flash floods ravaged Kedarnath. A lot has changed since then. Many reconstruction projects have already been completed and work is underway in full swing on the remaining ones. The foundation stone of the reconstruction project at Kedarnath was laid by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On Wednesday, the PM conducted a review of the Kedarnath Dham development and reconstruction project with the Uttarakhand state government via video conferencing. After the review, Prime Minister tweeted saying, "Reviewed various aspects relating to the Kedarnath reconstruction project, emphasized on redevelopment that is eco-friendly and ensures convenience to pilgrims as well as tourists. In addition to the redevelopment at Kedarnath, we discussed ways to develop other heritage centers from Ramban to Kedarnath. Development of centers such as Brahma Kamal Vatika were also discussed." Prime Minister also gave directions for further development of other heritage and religious spots in the stretch extending from Ramban to Kedarnath. This work will be in addition to the redevelopment of the main shrine in Kedarnath. Prime Minister said that the state government should envision and design development projects for holy sites like Kedarnath and Badrinath in a way and manner that stands the test of time and is yet eco-friendly and in harmony with nature and its surroundings. Chief Minister of Uttarakhand Trivendra Singh Rawat and other senior officials also participated in the discussions. Every year, Prime Minister Modi visits Kedarnath shrine to seek blessings. He has visited the shrine on many occasions after assuming charge of the office of Prime Minister of India. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, 2 firefighters of public sector Major Oil India Limited were found dead in a wetland abutting the site of a major blaze at the Bagjan well, which has been uncontrollably spewing gas for the last 15 days in Assam's Tinsukia district. Oil India Limited has said that the fire could take as long as 4 weeks to put out. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal of all possible assistance for the victims and to resolve the situation. Sonowal called up the Prime Minister and apprised him of the situation arising out of the gas blowout.
Earlier, whatever area occupied by the, this thing, flame of the fires, that has been confined to that particular plinth area. I think it has come down to their radius of 50 meters. So that way, the experts' view is very clear that they need another 25 to 28 days to control the situation. And I believe with the whatever support we are getting from the government of India, and particularly this morning, I have also briefed the entire situation to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and he has assured me full support from the government of India.
Now, the well located adjacent to the Dibro-Saikhowa National Park has been spouting gas and condensated droplets for the last 15 days, affecting forested areas and human habitations in a radius of about a kilometer. 3 experts from Singaporean firm Alert Disaster Control are present at the site since Monday, supervising efforts to extinguish the blaze. Following the well blowout on the 27th of May, over 1,610 families were moved out of the area and provided shelter at 4 relief camps.
Canadian expert from Singapore has been brought by Oil India Limited, Minister of Petroleum, and they have been putting their best possible effort to entire control the situation. With the support of Government of India and Government of Assam, joint effort, we have been successful in evacuating the people from those affected zone to a safer place.
And the well was planned to be capped by following the method and advice that has been given by the Singapore experts, but it is taking time to resolve. Okay, moving on now, we're talking about the further updates that have been coming in, because clearing the entire site is taking a little bit of time. Now, in yet another operational success, security forces gunned down 5 terrorists in an encounter in Jammu and Kashmir's Shopian district on Wednesday. The number of terrorists killed in the last 4 days stands now at 14. The cordon and search operation was launched in the Sugu area of Shopian in South Kashmir in the morning on receiving specific information about the presence of terrorists in the area. It was said that the operation turned into an encounter after the terrorists fired upon a search party of the forces who had retaliated. 2 terrorists were killed in the initial exchange of fire, and the forces had gunned down 3 more by the time last reports came in. This is the 3rd major encounter in Shopian in the last 4 days. 9 Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists, including a self-styled commander, were killed in 2 gun battles with security forces on Sunday as well as Monday. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a phone conversation with Samdech Aka Moha Senapadai Hun Sen, that is the Prime Minister of Cambodia. The two leaders discussed the COVID-19 pandemic. They agreed to continue the ongoing cooperation for helping each other's expatriates and facilitating their evacuation. The PM conveyed India's commitment for further strengthening of its relationships with Cambodia, an important member of ASEAN with shared civilizational and cultural ties with India. The Cambodian Prime Minister emphasized the importance Cambodia attaches to relations with India. The PM reciprocated the sentiment and stressed Cambodia's valued role in India's Act East policy. And the PM also had a telephonic conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu. He tweeted about it and said, "Had an excellent conversation with my friend PM Netanyahu about how India-Israel can collaborate in the post-COVID world." Also congratulated him for assuming the Prime Ministership and the Prime Ministerial office for a record 5th time. India-Israel partnership will grow ever stronger in the days to come. The Enforcement Directorate on Wednesday brought back over 2,300 kilograms of polished diamonds and pearls worth 1,350 crore rupees of firms belonging to Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi from Hong Kong. Officials said out of the 108 consignments that landed in Mumbai, 32 belong to overseas entities controlled by Modi, while the rest are of Mehul Choksi's firms. Both the businessmen are being probed by the Enforcement Directorate under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act in connection with an over $2 billion alleged bank fraud at a PNB branch in Mumbai. The valuables include polished diamonds, pearls and silver jewelry, and like I said, it's worth a massive 1,350 crore rupees. The ED completed all legal formalities with authorities in Hong Kong to bring back these valuables. These will formally be seized under the PMLA law now. Now, there's some good news for all environmentalists and wildlife enthusiasts. The number of Asiatic lions in the Gir forest region has increased by 29% to 674. The Gujarat Forest Department has said on Wednesday, and the PM has also put it across on Twitter. He said that two very good news: population of the majestic Asiatic lion living in Gujarat's Gir forest is up by almost 29%. Geographically, distribution area is up by 36%. Kudos to the people of Gujarat and all those whose efforts have led to this excellent feat. The PM further wrote, and I quote, "Over the last several years, the lion population in Gujarat has been steadily rising. This is powered by community participation, emphasis on technology, wildlife health care, proper habitat management and steps to minimize human-lion conflict. Hope this positive trend continues." According to the May 2015 census, there were 523 Asiatic lions in Gir, an increase of 27% from 2010. The Poonam Avlokan, or the full moon night estimation exercise, showed that the lions' population had reached 674. It was the highest growth rate recorded so far. The exercise also revealed that the area inhabited by lions has increased by 36% from 22,000 square kilometers in 2015 to 30,000 square kilometers in 2020. The exercise was carried out using direct beat verification and involved 1,400 personnel. The team relied on GPS data, identification marks and radio caller numbers to find out estimation of the population of the big cat in Gir, known as the last abode of the Asiatic lions. Let's now get you some updates from around the world as far as the COVID-19 situation is concerned. While protests continue to batter cities in the U.S., New York protesters marched in Brooklyn and Manhattan, encouraging demonstrators to continue to seek racial justice and equity everywhere and calling on the city to cut funding to the police department in favor of funding other community-based projects. The protests were triggered by the death of George Floyd, who was killed by a policeman in Minneapolis. These are the other updates from around the world, apart from the COVID-19 ones. And hundreds of protesters packed Seattle City Hall late on Tuesday, demanding the mayor's resignation and police reforms. Days after Seattle's mayor, Jenny Durkan, and a police chief promised a month-long moratorium on tear gas, the department used it again on protesters overnight Sunday, bringing severe criticism. The protests happened hours after George Floyd, an unarmed black man whose death under the knee of a police officer, roused worldwide protests against racial injustice. He was memorialized at his funeral in his boyhood hometown of Houston, Texas. And the protest in the U.S. against police brutality and racism has been sparking off a series of demonstrations in various other parts of the world as well. More than 1,000 protesters converged on a college at Oxford University, chanting "Take it down" and "Shame on you," to demand the removal of a statue of 19th century British colonialist Cecil Rhodes. Meanwhile, General Charles Brown Jr. has become the first black officer to lead the U.S. Air Force. The Senate has unanimously confirmed him as Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force. The decision came amid the Trump administration and white Republicans being in a tight corner after the brutal death of George Floyd in police custody in Minneapolis. General Brown is a fighter pilot and has most recently served as the commander of U.S. Pacific Air Forces. In Spain, wearing masks in public will remain mandatory after the country's state of emergency ends on the 21st of June until a cure or vaccine for the coronavirus is found. 3 weeks ago, Spain made masks mandatory in all public spaces where adequate social distancing cannot be maintained. The rule applies to everybody over the age of 6. Spain currently has more than 241,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus, with deaths surging past the 27,000 mark. Brazil on Tuesday restored detailed COVID-19 data to its official national website following a ruling by a Supreme Court that the full set of information be reinstated. The Health Ministry had removed the cumulative total data for COVID-19 deaths and cases on Saturday, provoking an uproar. The Supreme Court told the ministry on Tuesday to fully re-establish the publication of COVID-19 data in the interest of public health. Brazil has the world's second largest number of cases and has now more daily deaths than any other country. The Latin American country has recorded more than 7 lakh infections, but because of insufficient testing, the number is believed to be much higher. More than 37,000 people have died, the third highest toll in the world. And that's all we have time for the moment as far as Newsnight is concerned, but all the latest continues right here on DD News and DD India. Stay tuned and stay safe.